As we continue on with Module 3, we dig into teaching. Up to this point, you've built your systems, planned your routines, and designed the structure for your very first unit. Now we focus on what happens while the students are learning. In this chapter, you'll learn how to teach new content in a way that is clear, efficient, and repeatable. By the end of this chapter, you'll have a structured teaching routine you can use in every lesson without adding more planning time. Plan for 2 to 3 periods to implement and refine your teaching routine. Most teachers already use these strategies. This chapter simply helps organize them into a clear structure. This chapter is not about adding more strategies. It's about organizing the ones you already use into a clear, repeatable structure that works for every single lesson. Before we continue, go ahead and get out your Google Notes document. Use it to capture tools you want to try, decisions you're making, and reminders for later. You don't need to write down everything, just note what will help you teach more clearly and efficiently. Everything in this chapter is, of course, supported by research. Feedback has an effect size of 0.73. Reciprocal teaching has an effect size of 0.74. Classroom discussion has an effect size of 0.82. Intentional questioning has an effect size of 0.48. These strategies make thinking visible, increase student talk and reasoning, and allow teachers to respond during an instruction. They are most effective during guided practice and independent work. Teaching routines change everything. When instruction follows a predictable structure, students know what to expect, participation increases, and learning becomes easier to see. The focus of this chapter is teaching using a gradual release model. I do, we do, you do. You know how long you have to teach because your block it calendar is already set. Now you're deciding how learning is introduced, how students practice with support, and how they apply learning independently. We begin with I do. This is where you introduce new learning clearly and intentionally. The multiple ways to present contact tool supports this phase by giving you structured options for how content is introduced. Inside the tool are simple but detailed directions for every strategy, including prep, how it works, why it works, exactly what the teacher and the student are doing, and examples of what topics would work for each one. The goal here is clarity. As you can see, the strategies are separated based on presentation method. You don't need to use every option. Choose one strategy that matches your learning goal and supports clarity for students. The unit planning template is where all this comes together. You're capturing standards, learning intentions, success criteria, and assessment checkpoints. This gives the unit a clear shape without locking you into rigid lessons. Think framework first, flexibility later. You can always add in those favorite lessons you already have in your classroom. All you have to do is open your Planet template and check the box of the strategy that you want to try in your very first lesson. Before we continue with the next step in this structure, we need to talk about how practice supports learning and how to protect your time. When student thinking is easy to see, you can circulate and give immediate feedback while students are working instead of collecting papers later. Practice is meant to help students learn, not to prove mastery. That means it does not need to be graded right or wrong. This is huge. Let me repeat. The purpose of practice is learning, not grading. Guide students to fix mistakes in the moment. Mark the correction, have them make the change, and then record completion on a roster or other simple tracker. You can still give them points if you want to. This keeps practice focused on learning, builds confidence, and eliminates stacks of papers to grade later. Most importantly, it gives you back your evenings and weekends. We continue with We Do. This is where students work through new content together using defined roles and guided discussion. The reciprocal teaching routine tool supports this phase by providing a repeatable structure for small group learning in any subject. Inside the tool are step-by-step directions for the routine, including how to organize groups, how to assign roles, when to rotate responsibilities, and what the teacher and students are doing at each stage. Students work in the groups of 2 to 4 and rotate through the roles: predictor, questioner, clarifier, and summarizer. Each role gives students a clear responsibility, so participation stays high and discussion stays focused. You will find a ready-to-print role anchor chart that keeps responsibilities visible during group work. Your role during this time: facilitate the process. Assign roles, model expectations, and circulate to provide feedback while students are working. Roles rotate regularly so every student practices each skill and builds confidence. The goal here is understanding through discussion. You don't need to use every option. Choose one routine that matches your learning goal and supports meaningful participation for every student. We continue to support WeDo with 2 resources that guide feedback and questioning. The feedback tool provides clear directions for giving feedback that is specific, actionable, and connected to success criteria. Students know exactly what to fix and what to do next. The feedback anchor chart has ready-to-use feedback stems that build independence and promote grit. The questions for high-level thought anchor chart provide ready-to-use questions that push students to explain, connect, and justify their thinking. Inside the tool are specific instructions for asking quality questions during lessons, group work, and discussions. You will also find 2 versions of each chart to choose from. These charts should be displayed in a space where you can see them. They are for you, not for the students. Now you can open your unit planning template and check the box of the strategy you want to try for WeDo during your very first lesson. Now we come to UDo. This is where students apply their learning on their own. Choice boards provide students choice in a structured way for practicing while you circulate and provide feedback. When used consistently, choice boards help students build independence and take responsibility for their learning. Inside the tool are easy to follow directions for using choice boards in your classroom. You share the learning goal and success criteria, explain the options, and tell students how many boxes they need to complete. If there's an activity that you want every student to complete, you make that a required box. Students then work independently while you circulate, provide feedback, and record results in real time. You will find 6 subject-specific, ready-to-use, and fully editable boards, including wordless practice, math practice, social studies practice, science practice, journaling, and reading response. There are also 3 flexible choice boards that work in any classroom, including Show What You Know for assessment options, classroom discussion, and what to do when you're finished. These 3 universal posters can become posters on the wall, placed in binders, or shared digitally so students always know what their options are. You can also create custom choice boards using ChatGPT. A prompt is included in the tool. You adjust it to match your learning goal, copy and paste it, and ChatGPT will generate options for your unique choice board. The goal here is choice for independent practice, where expectations are clear, choices are structured, and learning is visible. You don't need to create something new each time. Choose one choice board that matches your learning goal and use it to guide independent work. Open your unit plan and template and check the box of the choice board you want to use during the I do part of your unit. You now have a clear structure for teaching content. You know how learning is introduced, how students practice with support, and how they apply learning independently. This routine keeps instruction predictable, efficient, and focused on learning. In the next chapter, we'll evaluate learning and adjust instruction so every student continues to grow. You are almost to the finish line.